Most of the organizations I come across that employ lead scoring typically have set it up once and then they've kind of neglected it and then aren't doing really anything with it. And so what ends up happening is leads bubble up past a certain score, and then the sales team gets the lead and it's not really qualified, it's not very meaningful. That, or there are a number of actions that are not being registered in the lead scoring. So there are a number of leads that should get attention that just aren't getting attention. And so I find one of those two things, maybe one of three things happening. It was set up and then just never revisited. And so it's not very meaningful anymore. Or it was set up and it was done in a very complicated way and it was just overly complex and then requires too much maintenance and it just really doesn't fit the organization. And then the third scenario is the feature's there and was never used in the first place. So similarly to what I talked about with marketing automation in a previous video, I think lead scoring is important when you have enough lead flow to where you need to start throttling back the number of leads given to your sales team. So if your sales team is starting to get overwhelmed with leads, then you want to use things like lead scoring as a governor to filter out and only pass to the sales team those with high behavior, high intent behavior. And so you can use lead scoring to measure things like how many times they visited your website, how many times they filled out a PDF request form, if they visited service pages or your pricing page. You can start to identify points, if you will, with those behaviors and use that as a filter. And so now you're only passing leads to your team that meet a certain score. But again, similar to marketing automation, you don't really need lead scoring until you need to start throttling back the number of leads your sales team is getting. So if your sales team right now is just getting 10 leads a week with no lead scoring, no marketing automation, then you really don't need either of those things. Just follow up on those 10 leads. But if they're getting 100 leads per week, and let's say in your organization, that's too many to follow up on with, say, maybe 2 salespeople, 4 salespeople, what have you, then you would start employing some of these technologies like lead scoring, start filtering those leads and throttling back, a governor, if you will, and then make sure that you only give your sales team those leads that have expressed high intent behavior. And that's what your lead scoring is for, is to measure the behavior. And then the other aspect you could do with lead scoring is the profile information. So for example, if your target is a COO, that might have a higher score than maybe an individual that comes in and is a director. Maybe the director is 10 points, but a COO, for example, is 50 points. And so you could assign points also based on profile information. And so that combination of profile information and behavioral data, their actions together, you would have a lead score. But again, you only need that if you're getting too many leads, if your sales team just has too many leads to follow up on.